Hello, I hope you're well. Welcome back to the Andy of Astro YouTube channel. The sun's right up there. It wasn't up there a minute ago. Anyway, that's why I'm scowling. This is an off-axis guide from SVBony that I got in October last year. I couldn't use it at all. Couldn't get it to connect because you need the filter drawer as well. So what I did was I did a full unboxing of this filter drawer and the off-axis guider. And so we're now in March. No, we're not. We're in April. We're now in April. In fact, it's the Easter weekend. It's quite windy. I hope the sound is okay. So we're in April, Easter weekend, and I've still not been able to get this to work. It does work. Don't misunderstand me. It's not like it's faulty. It's basically what happens is you have to get your main camera in focus first, this one, and then you focus your off-axis guider camera with the focus that you have on the main camera. Now the problem I have is this is a planetary camera. It is not a camera which you can use for guiding, so I can't get focus with this, and I've tried different cameras and different combinations. It looks like I'm going to have to buy a new camera. However, I did unbox this, so I'm going to give you that video. The other thing is the camera I'm using now is really good in fantastic daylight. It's not so good in inside light where the color temperature is lower and it doesn't get us focus as well. But I didn't want to re-record the whole video, so sorry everyone. It's a bit soft and the color is orange, so that's just how it is. I did that, so there we go. So forgive me for the quality of the video. I will get this working. I can see light through this. The problem I have is the fact that I can't get proper focus. So although I can focus on a tree, it might not be the same tree that is in focus in this camera here. So the next step is to try and get hold of a camera which will allow proper focus. Anyway, this is the unboxing video. I hope it's useful to you, and take care. I'll see you all soon. This is the SVBony off-axis guider. Let's have a look in the box. I've had this for a few months and I have opened it and I've sort of played with it a bit, but I wanted to go through all the bits that you got in the box. So here we go. First of all, we have a manual, which we can see here. So we have a manual. Now, this is the off-axis guider itself. And interestingly, it comes with lots of different pieces. Now, I have already unscrewed this, so yours will not come unscrewed like mine has. It comes with lots of different thread adapters. The one which was mounted on this is an M54 thread adapter, and it is a female thread. It then has an additional thread adapter which is already installed, so I'll just quickly unscrew this. So it has this particular M54 to M42 thread adapter. So you have an M54 to M42 thread adapter. In addition, in the box, you have here an M48 to M42 thread adapter, which is this one. Now, interestingly about this, if I take my vernier calipers here and I measure the size of this, so I'm just going to reset them there and I'll measure the size. That is 3.9 millimeters, effectively 4 millimeters. And if I now take this one, I now take this one, which is the M54 adapter, and I measure the size of that. That is 4.9 millimeters. So that is basically 5 millimeters thick. And this one is basically 4 millimeters thick. So hold that in your mind. 4 millimeters thick and 5 millimeters thick. They are different. They are a different size. That is really important when it comes to working out your back spacing, depending upon which one of these you are using. It also comes with an M48 to M42 thread adapter. Also in the box you have some Allen keys, and you have the knurled thumb screws that you can see there, which will be fitting around here to secure things like your camera, and also for locking the focus position, which you have here. It is quite a weighty item. It's nicely made. You can see the prism just there. So that's the prism, and this is the focus adjustment, and you can see as I move it in and out that it's changing the focus position on there. SVBony also say that you can screw your guide camera in there, and it will actually screw to where the prism holder is on the inside. Now this little adjustment here allows you to adjust the position of the prism inside and outside on the off-axis guider. So this just locks it off nicely. The prism is actually covered with a little piece of plastic at the moment, which I won't remove because I want to keep it all nice and clean inside. That is everything which came in the box, and of course the instructions as well. It wasn't until I was trying to assemble this that I realized I'd come against a bit of a problem. This is all great, and I thought, brilliant, I'll try and fit this together. But of course I couldn't, which is one of the reasons why I haven't done this video yet. And it's taken a long while to get to this place, because I couldn't use any of this at all without purchasing this. I didn't realize when I bought this off-axis guider that I would not be able to fit it without purchasing a filter drawer to go with it. I know some people who have fitted this, I think, to the ZWO filter wheel, but I don't want to use a filter wheel with this. So I had to purchase an additional filter drawer in order to use this off-axis guider. Let's have a look at this filter drawer. This is the SV226P filter holder, and it is an M48 to M42 filter holder. And this is pretty much how it arrived. It comes in a nice sort of plastic box. Let's have a look inside. So first of all, in the middle, I have a filter drawer. Now this filter drawer has an interesting adapter which allows you to go from 2-inch filters to 1 1/4 inch filters, and it's just screwed in here, so you can literally just unscrew this section and then you've got a 2-inch filter drawer, which is quite a nice feature. This is the actual filter drawer. On this side it has an M48 thread, which you can see here, that's the male thread, and on that side it has an M42 thread, and it gives you an M48 to M42 adapter which can fit in there. The only way that I can get this off-axis guider to fit is by using this filter drawer. So I have all the bits here for the off-axis guider and the filter drawer, and I'm going to assemble this now. Remember I mentioned about these, how the M54, one of these, was slightly thicker than the M48. Now I'm going to be using the M48 one, and you'll see why in a little while. If I measure this filter drawer, so this is exactly 21 millimeters, or 20.96, so it's as good as 21. The M54 version of this is the M58, is only 20 millimeters. So you have to use a thicker adapter. This is the M54 one, and I'm having to use the thinner one to compensate for the fact that that is 21 millimeters. So I'm going to assemble all of this, and hopefully I'll be able to get exactly 55 millimeter back spacing. You have to dismantle it in order to fit this filter drawer. And weirdly, although it's got loads of different thread holes, when you put this on here, it doesn't actually line up unless it is at a slight angle like that. So you can't line it up like that at all. You have to line it up so it's at a slight angle in order for the threads to mesh with these machined holes. Strangely with this, there are 6 screws, but there are 7, 8, 9, 10 additional holes to put screws, but they have not provided enough. So either I have to source some more screws or I don't bother. So for this exercise, I'm just not going to bother, but I feel I should be putting some extra screws. These other holes are for if you're attaching the off-axis guider to other pieces of equipment. So I'm now going to install the M48 plate, which goes on here. I have here all of the parts to make up a mini imaging chain. So in here I have a field flattener, I have the off-axis guider, and I have my SVBony 405cc camera. So we've already seen that when we have the filter drawer and the off-axis guider, that now adds up precisely to 37.48 millimeters. So that's basically 37.5 millimeters. This camera with its little extender that we have here is exactly 17.5 millimeters from here to the sensor. So that should screw nicely onto the filter drawer. So that's now attached to there. And then the final part is to attach the field flattener, which I'm going to need to put an adapter on in order for it to fit on here. So that is the full imaging chain. So that should give the full 55mm backspacing from the field flattener going all the way through with 37.5mm to the end of the filter drawer and then 17.5 to the position on the sensor. So that should be the correct backspacing. I may need to put some shims in this bit here so that I can adjust the position of the camera sensor, because the off-axis guider prism may cover part of the sensor. So I'm going to just investigate that now. So you can see that the sensor is slightly at an angle compared to the prism. Now I could put a shim in there in order to adjust that spacing and change the angle of the sensor, but I actually think this might be okay. So the only way to really tell is to actually use it in an imaging setup. The final thing will be to put in a guide camera, which will fit in here.